In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, we seek refuge in God from Satan the rejected. Welcome, brothers and sisters, to another beautiful Quran study, where we'll be continuing from Surah 10, the subtitle in Surah 10:99, The Disbelievers Blocked Out. Had your Lord willed, all the people on earth would have believed. Do you want to force the people to become believers? In submission, we know there's no compulsion in religion. We shouldn't be forcing someone to worship God alone. We should just offer the message and just strive to plant the seed and let God come around to water it. Like, inshallah, we should stay away from, forcing someone to accept our understandings of submission to God alone. Even though we know how beautiful submission to God alone is, forcing someone is prohibited in submission to God alone. So let's just offer the message to people who are not familiar with submission. In the footnote, it says, the test demands that we denounce idolatry on our own without divine intervention in our initial decision. God blocks out those who choose to disbelieve. No soul can believe except in accordance with God's will, for he places a curse upon those who refuse to understand. Say, look at all the signs in the heavens and the earth, all the proofs and all the warnings can never help people who decide to disbelieve. And this is a very self-explanatory quotation. You can, bring someone to something as miraculous as, like angels coming down, and they'll still say their eyes are bewitched. If God doesn't guaranteeing them able to understand that he alone should be worshipped, no soul can believe except in accordance with God's will. So I mean, let's even be appreciative for being able to understand the complex Quran as it is in itself. So if I can continue, inshallah. Can they expect other than the fate of their counterparts in the past? Say, just wait, and along with you I am also waiting. We ultimately save our messengers and those who believe. It is our immutable law that we save the believers. And that's beautiful. It's a law that the believers will be saved. And at the end of the day, we will continue to wait. And it's a beautiful saying that God gives us in the face of those who wish to disbelieve. Say, just wait, and along with you, I am also waiting. It just shows, if you're not going to understand or even seek the truth, and it's presented in front of you, not a believer obviously, but someone who is ignorant towards the message or isn't looking for the truth, we have a saying that we can just say, and it's in the Quran for us to use to our advantage. Say, O people, if you have any doubt regarding my religion, I do not worship what you worship beside God. I worship God alone, the one who will terminate your lives. I am commanded to be a believer. It's the utmost truth that we have commands to be the utmost righteous, submitters to God, exhort righteousness in the religion of Islam or submission. But what's beautiful is we will submit to God alone, no matter the face of, no matter what it is, whether it's persecution, whether someone wants to take you off the face of earth, whether someone wants to judge you publicly and or privately. We will continue to worship God alone and exhort righteousness. And it says, if you have any doubt regarding my religion, I do not worship what you worship beside God. I worship God alone, just the creator of the whole universe. And alhamdulillah, a beautiful thing is we have the scripture to back up our actions. As submitters, we always are equipped with an unbeatable argument. It says 105, I was commanded, keep yourself devoted to the religion of monotheism. Monotheism. I always mess that up. You shall not practice idol worship. So strict monotheism, strict worship of God alone. You shall not practice idol worship. Idol worship is devaluing God. It's using the wrong scale when submitters are blessed with so much wisdom that the scale increases in the sense of you're able to understand who God is. And even still, you still don't even know some of the miraculous things about God. Even in the scripture, we're still researching so much information with the mathematical miracle. The Quran is fractal. It has a fractal design where it's like infinitely complex. And idol worship, putting anything above God, you're devaluing him, and it's gross. You shall not worship beside God what possesses no power to benefit you or harm you. If you do, you will be a transgressor. So we're informed here that idol worship, we're informed here that idol worship, whether it's some religions, they go towards the extent of water gods, fire gods, earth gods, any sorts of terrible things. None of those things benefit them, and nor harm them. Well, it harms them for sure, but it says, "You shall not worship beside God, what possesses no power to benefit you or harm you." So let's just worship God alone. From grabbing the importance of 106. In the subtitle 107, it says, "All power belongs to God. If God touches you with a hardship, none can relieve it except He. And when He blesses you, no force can prevent His grace. He bestows it upon whomever He chooses from among His servants. He is forgiver, most merciful." I believe this is such a key point in this verse. His servants, and it just highlights you being one of God's servants. You are equipped with so many blessings that other people are not equipped with. You get the grace of your Lord. You get the forgiveness of your Lord. You get the mercy of your Lord. You get the provisions that come with your Lord. And inshallah, you get heaven that comes with your Lord. The translucent cups, the furnishings. It's just so many blessings that come with being with your Creator. Whereas on being on the opposite side, He has the most painful retribution. We understand that those who are idol worshippers, disbelievers who die as such, they will have shackles on them, and even the worst of the worst being spawned, being put straight directly into hell. They're on the most painful side of retribution, and this is what. So God even mentions the lightning bolt. It can be a source of fear, or it can be a source of, I forgot the word, but it's a source of, for lack of better words, I want to say reverence. To be appreciative.
To be a source of hope.
A source of hope. Thank you, brother. A source of hope. And it just goes to show that you don't want to be on the wrong side. You want to be one of God's servants. He is the most merciful, and He is the forgiver. 108. Proclaim, O people, the truth has come to you herein from your Lord. Whoever is guided for his own good, and whoever goes astray to his own detriment. I am not a guardian over you. The truth, the Quran has come to us, and we accept it wholeheartedly, and we want to continue to uphold it as best as possible. And it goes to show that every soul is accountable for his own and will be judged in its own. I mean, it is also in the Quran where people will be lined in rows, and it will be a blessing to have your account being read from the right side. In individual rows, this is a row of someone in front of you. You'll be aligned in front of God in rows. Inshallah, your account's being read from the right side, not the left. 10:109. Follow what is revealed to you and be patient until God issues His judgment. He is the best judge. Inshallah, I will continue. All right. Surah 11 Hud. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. ALR, this is a scripture whose verses have been perfected, then elucidated. It comes from a most wise, most cognizant. Our generation is fortunate to witness two awesome phenomena. In the Quran, an extraordinary mathematical code that is fractal. It has infinite, complex, miraculous things that we've even yet to, I think we're yet to figure out because it's so miraculous. But and number two, a literary miracle of incredible dimensions. If humans attempt to write a mathematically structured work, the numeral multiplications will adversely affect the literary quality. The Quran sets the standard for literary excellence. Those are some big words, but points to an understanding that no human can fabricate or replicate what the Quran has set. Subtitle: The Quran, Messenger of God, proclaiming, "You shall not worship except God. I come to you from Him as a warner, as well as a bearer of good news. You shall seek your Lord's forgiveness, then repent to Him. He will then bless you generously for a predetermined period and bestow His grace upon those who deserve it. If you turn away, then I fear for you the retribution of an awesome day." So, turning away from your Lord's forgiveness, turning away from repenting towards your Lord when He just comes with all the additions of all the possible things you can imagine you'd want, you're turning towards the side of rejection. You're turning towards the side of idol worship. There's no guarantee, there's no protection on turning your back towards your Lord. You're just not guaranteed safety. You're not guaranteed bliss. You're not guaranteed peaceful, a peaceful mind. If anything, you're always scared. Some may argue, that because I don't think about God, life is far more peaceful. But I would argue that that person is looking over their shoulder. But what it says is, He will then bless you generously for a predetermined period. God is most gracious, most merciful. If you turn away, then I fear for you the retribution of an awesome day. That is the day of judgment. 11:4. To God is your ultimate return, and He is omnipotent. Still, some people ponder on why we're here. Where am I going? And alhamdulillah, currently we are here with an understanding that to God we will be returned. But I think this can also point towards an understanding that we who have the wisdom and the knowledge, we should pursue exhorting the message or pushing the message out because we understand what's now. Obviously, yes, you should protect your own soul, but also exhort righteousness and explain the Quran towards someone who is ignorant and doesn't know, for the betterment of their soul. Where granted, everyone has their own actions and deeds and judgment towards themselves, it would be a blessing and more credit for you to exhort righteousness and preach the message, as this is even our mission at the end of the day. 11:5. Indeed, they hide their innermost thoughts as if to keep him from knowing them. In fact, as they cover themselves with their clothes, He knows all their secrets and declarations. He knows the innermost thoughts. There's no getting away from the creator of the universe. There's no hiding in layers of dirt. There's no hiding at the building homes inside of the mountains and secluding yourself away from human beings. There's no staying far away from human beings on ranches full of animals and stuff where it's just secluded to you. No, there's no getting away from your creator at the end of the day. He knows the innermost thoughts. He knows your innermost secrets, whether declared or even expressed. He knows everything, and that's our creator. Provisions guaranteed. 11:6. There is not a creature on earth whose provision is not guaranteed by God. and he knows its course and its final destiny. All are recorded in a profound record. Simple as that. All are recorded in a profound record. He knows its course and its final destiny. Just like us as human beings, we have a predetermined, specific predetermined time where we'll be gone, and our record it will be closed then and there when our day when God has called our name. And there's not a creature on earth, whether it's the pig, whether it's the pigeon. Well, I mean, I think the pigeon has three or four. I don't know. Well, whether it's the pigeon wobbling its feet on the pavement, the pigeon also has a record that will definitely be closed as well. Any animal, any creature, any creation by God, even the ant, anything as you can think of. 11:7. He is the one who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. Before I continue this one, inshallah, the footnote says the 6 days are simply a yardstick providing us with a lot of information. Thus, we learn that the vast, lifeless physical universe was created in 2 days, while the tiny mote called Earth was created in 4 days. And you can refer to 41:10 through 12 for that factual information. The provision of food, water, and oxygen for the Earth's inhabitants had to be precisely calculated and arranged. The Earth was initially covered with water. Subsequently, the land mass emerged and the continents drifted apart. And his earthly domain was completely covered with water, in order to test you, to distinguish those among you who work righteousness. Wow. So, okay, even my brothers and sisters of submission to God alone, we will be tested in order to see, who is the most righteous, who will do the most, who will lend God the highest loan of righteousness for God, for their Creator. Who will repent them? Who will do the utmost to worship their Creator and exhort righteousness and strive to, never fail your test? But you're human, so you might. But you repent to God, and do you repent to God? This earth is a test, and to distinguish those among you who work righteousness. Now, obviously, as submitters, there's no reason for us to compare ourselves to those who aren't even in submission. Granted, we still, push the message out, but the ones that we are not necessarily facing, because we should always strive to be better, and always look at our weaknesses and grow. But this is a test, and you should also, support your brother and sister. Don't, cloud your understanding of a test and, who will loan God the largest loan of righteousness, and then close yourself off from helping your brother or sister. But to distinguish those among you who work righteousness, you want to strive to the utmost. Now, yet when you say you will be resurrected after death, those who disbelieve would say this is clearly witchcraft. 11:8. And if we delay the retribution they have incurred, and if we delay the retribution they have incurred, for we reserve it for a specific community, they say, what is keeping him? In fact, once it comes to them, nothing can stop it, and their mocking will come back to haunt them. 11:9. Whenever we bless the human being with mercy from us, then remove it, he turns despondent, unappreciative. Whenever we bless him after adversity had afflicted him, he says, all adversity has gone away from me. He becomes excited, proud. So we get to understand some characteristic traits that we want to stay away from, and that happens to be with unappreciativeness. Unappreciativeness can definitely clog your mind. You could be blessed with any sort of blessing that you didn't know that you needed, and you just didn't thank God for it, and it can just show that you're not appreciative for what God does for you. And as submitters, I believe it's very important that we hone into characteristic traits, righteous characteristic traits, your moral compass, striving to be the utmost righteous. 11:10, I'll read it again, inshallah. Whenever we bless him after adversity had afflicted him, he says, all adversity has gone away from me. He becomes excited, proud. And this excited proudness that I can speak personally on, because I've had this experience. It is like a um, it's like you just think nothing else is going to happen to me. Like, oh, I've gotten through this adversity. Everything else is all good. It's all good. Nothing else is bound to stop me and on my path. But if you just don't appreciate God for relieving that adversity, it's like a consistent hamster wheel of this sort of unappreciativeness. You go through adversity, you don't thank God. You go through you go through adversity, you don't thank God. No, excuse me. You go through adversity, he relieves it, you don't thank God. You go through adversity, he relieves it, you don't thank God. It just goes to show, like, wow, this servant is far from being appreciative. But 11:11, I just want to make sure I don't read over what I'm supposed to, inshallah. 11, okay. As for those who steadfastly persevere and lead a righteous life, they deserve forgiveness and a generous recompense. Steadfastly persevering in the cause of God, it comes with its challenges, but it also comes with its beautiful rewards. They deserve forgiveness. They deserve forgiveness. What does someone who is unappreciative and despondent, what do they deserve? What is someone who has his adversity relieved by God and then becomes excited and proud and doesn't thank God? What do they deserve? Whereas when you look towards a submitter to God who steadfastly perseveres and leads a righteous life, they deserve forgiveness and a generous recompense. God's revelation is heavy. You may wish to disregard some of that which is revealed to you, and you may be annoyed by it. Also, they may say, how come no treasure comes down to him or an angel? You're only a warner. God controls all things. If they say he fabricated the Quran, tell them, then produce 10 swords like these, fabricated, and invite whomever you can, other than God, if you are truthful. The Quran's mathematical miracle is inimitable. Inimitable. So I believe that words means you cannot replicate what God has created. Now, as I had said earlier, the Quran is fractal, has a fractal design, and its mathematical code is infinitely complex. And someone may think like, oh, if I just write what the verses say and copy what the verses say, they're in competition with the Quran, or they're equal to the verse. I mean to say, that's totally incorrect. If you were to, by God's leave, drop the knowledge on them of the mathematical miracle, they would be far surprised that they're far from being able to imitate the Quran's verses, even the verses, even the initials. You can't imitate the Quran. And for 11:12, inshallah, you may wish to disregard some of that which is revealed to you, and you may be annoyed by it. Also, they may say, how come no treasure comes down to him or an angel? You're only a warner. God controls all things. To my understanding, maybe we can speak on this more heavily, inshallah. This is an individual who wants more than what the messenger is bringing, because they say, how come no treasure comes down to him or an angel? But I believe in the Quran. I definitely want to speak correctly. If had God sent an angel, he would have sent an angel messenger. But just for this quotations alone, the individual wants more than what is being presented to them, and says, you are only a warner. God controls all things, putting an understanding that you can only plant the seed, and inshallah, let God let it grow. Now, excuse me. 11:14. If they fail to meet your challenge, the challenge of striving to, then produce 10 swords like these, then know that this is revealed with God's knowledge, and that there is no God except He. Will you then submit? Will this individual then submit when they fail this challenge? When they believe that they can replicate what's revealed in this Quran, will this individual submit? Because it says, then you know that this is revealed with God's knowledge. You can't imitate it. You can't replicate it. So will this person then submit, in that there is no God except He? Believe I am finished from there. Inshallah, if we could discuss more, that would be beautiful. Thank you.
MashaAllah, brother. God bless you.
MashaAllah, brother.
MashaAllah. God bless you. Did you get a new microphone?
No, this is the same one. Does it sound much clearer?
Yeah, very clear, MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah, brother. MashaAllah.
Praise God.
Yeah, I want to say that what you said about being appreciative, is very important. And often, we get sucked into the worldly things and we forget the importance of being appreciative. I mean, especially when you have so many options available, and and you see there's no limit to people with material things. And so, I mean, a lot of times God will test us with, provisions and, things like that, to see, how we respond. And it's important to be happy and to be appreciative, and obviously not just to show your appreciation with words, but also with our actions. And the disbelievers are always unappreciative. And so, the believers, it's a quality of the believers that they're always appreciative. It's easy to find problems in your life and easy to complain about things. But when you count your blessings and think about the things that you should be thankful for, that's when God blesses you with contentment and peace in your heart and help you grow your soul, mashallah. And He gives you more in return as well. So this is, double blessing from God. Yeah, also the fact that God guarantees all our provisions for us. We don't have to worry about our provisions and where they're going to come from. We just have to remember to, make God our God and not worry about money and provisions. I mean, it's easier said than done, but even the richest people in the world are worried about making more money, and this makes them poor because they're always in need. And so we have to remember that we shouldn't worry about provisions. We should implore God and worship God and commemorate Him and ask Him, but never worry about these things, because God says these are guaranteed for not just us humans, but also for all the creatures on earth. I mean, we see all the countless creatures that God has created, incredible creatures. There are certain creatures. I mean, God has given us so many abilities. He has given us the eyes, the ears, hearing, all these things, but there's so many creatures that don't have any of these things, and they're stuck in the middle of some desert or middle of the ocean or somewhere there's no light, and or somewhere where there's freezing temperatures and there's no life, and God is still has ways to provide for all of those creatures and given them the right skills when they need it, and gives them the provisions when it's necessary. So God has guaranteed provisions for all his creatures. And especially, it's important for people to remember that, you cannot change the system in any way. I mean, whatever provisions are guaranteed by God, you're going to get it no matter what, so we should not worry about it and, lose our sleep over things like that. And just thank God when he gives us these provisions. I mean, we didn't have to have provisions on earth to pass our test. I mean, God could have created us as a being that needs no provisions, and we didn't even have to go to work. But these are ways for us to be tested, and ways for us that to be appreciative. Like, for example, even the provisions that God has given us in this world. I mean, he could, think about it like dog food, like dogs. When some people feed their dogs with just dog food all the time, they don't even give them any people food. And so they eat the same kind of food pretty much their whole life. And we could be like those creatures too, where God could just give us one kind of food and we just eat it every day, in order to survive. But God has created so many different kinds of creatures and plants and animals in multiple colors and tastes from all over the globe for us to be thankful to him and appreciate him for the things that he has created for us.
So I had a question on 11:12 when I was reading. It says, "You may wish to disregard some of that which is revealed to you, and you may be annoyed by it." And then the next sentence it says, "Also they may say." I was wondering if this was towards someone who was disbelieving the scripture, not someone who's following the scripture.
I have the same feeling, brother. I think there are some people who want to, like, for example, look at the verses of Quran and say that, oh, this makes sense, this is good, this is good. But then if it comes to something that it's against their previous thoughts, they want to disregard it. They get annoyed by it, and they don't want to follow the path of God. They don't want to follow what God has told them to be followed. I can give, like, for example, an example of this. For example, one of my colleagues, he's so much into knowing about religion and everything, and he even says that this is just miraculous and magnificent, that there is this mathematical structure in the Quran, and it's something that he cannot disregard. He's not saying that no, this is nonsense. Like, there are some people who see this and then they say exactly what Quran says. They say that this is magic, or they don't believe in the mathematical miracle. But this person doesn't disregard the mathematical miracle. But when it comes to the verses of Quran, specifically the things which are related to, for example, say marriage, he doesn't want to accept some of the verses. You know what I mean? So that would be like they get annoyed by it. They want to disregard some of that which is revealed to them. They don't accept that this is all from God, because if they accept, then they have to go against what they have already believed, or what their parents have told them to believe, or what the society has told them to believe, and that annoys them. They don't want to go against all those thoughts. And they start listening to other sources. Then they say that, oh, this person says that, oh, this person says that, oh, we're living in a modern society, no, this is wrong, this is, and then they go off the path of God. I mean, they were not on the path of God, to be more exact. They didn't begin to be on the path of God. Now it's the case that they don't want to accept it. And then you understand that what Quran means by hypocrites. So we have different people who are hypocrites. So there are some people who say that they are submitters and they're hypocrites. There are some people who say that they believe in God and they're hypocrites. Some people believe in Christianity and they are hypocrites. So there are different different hypocrites, you know. If that
Oh, you said
answers
there's
your
certain people that are hypocrites. So you said there's certain hippos that are hypocrites.
Oh, hippos are submitters. Actually, they have taken the deal.
Mashallah, yeah. Hippos are submitters.
Yeah, they have already taken the deal. You know, and mashallah. Speaking of, you know, animals, you know, when you see, like, for example, animals, as Brother Suleiman said, you know, that they are provided for. You see that, you know, these little, you know, birds that they come. If you have like a bird feeder behind your window, you see that they just come and take their provision and then they're on their way. They don't need to thank you. They don't need to be afraid of you. And even if you don't put, you know, seeds out for them, they don't care. They won't come. They will go somewhere else, and their provision is there. So this is the beauty of, you know, being provided by God, you know, subhanallah. And we need to get closer and closer and closer to this idea of understanding how we are being provided for. Because sometimes even I personally, as a submitter, sometimes these devilish thoughts come to my mind, and it's obviously because of my jinn companion that is going to say, what if, you know? And then you have to start suppressing these thoughts by the verses of Quran, that numerous places in the Quran we have that you are provided for. You don't need to worry about your provision, you know?
SubhanAllah.
Yes. MashaAllah, subhanAllah.
Yeah, every time I feel that, you know, like I open the Quran and I get verses about provisions that God, I always reminded by God that, you know, He guarantees provisions. You know, it's amazing. And especially, like, speaking of birds, you know, when you think about it, like, you know, how birds just get up and they migrate to like almost other side of the world, and how far they go with all these distances. They don't even know, like, for example, for humans, they want to know they have a job, they have money, you know, where they're going. But these birds, you know, they just leave. I mean, birds and other animals that migrate, you know, they just leave. They know that, you know, God will provide for them, and they trust in God. And they just leave, trust in their instincts, and they go where God has given them their provisions, mashallah.
Speaking of provision, there was a, you know, a training that they put for us at work, and it was like a training for, you know, encountering situations when there is a stress and anxiety and stuff like that. And the person who was the instructor there started talking about all types of, you know, fear that I believe that he had from inside, because he was speaking in a way that as if all those things that he was talking about has already happened to him. He had like so many miseries in his toolkit inventory, you know, and he was just like bringing one after the other. I said that, oh, we have to have contingency plan for this. Oh, we have to do this. We have to do that. And then started giving us, you know, some scenarios, some potential scenarios, and said that, what would you do in this situation if you are, like, for example, this misery has happened, and this has happened, or that has happened. I basically try to just like stay quiet, and then, but it was really interesting how you saw that 99% of the people started, you know, feeling that way and started saying the same exact thing. And then you understand, subhanAllah, how fortunate we are and how blessed we are that we don't have those fears anymore. And previous to submission, we had those fears, and they were sometimes very intense. But right now, alhamdulillah, these fears are gone. And that's the blessing of God, and that is the promise of God, that these fears don't exist anymore, subhanAllah.
Inshallah.
So I just wanted to make a comment on verses 13 and 14 that we read today, the Quran impossible to imitate. If they say, Auzubillah minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, if they say he fabricated the Quran, tell them, then produce 10 surahs like these, fabricated, and invite whomever you can other than God if you're truthful. If they fail to meet your challenge, then know that this is revealed with God's knowledge and that there is no God except He. Will you then submit? And this is really interesting that we have to bear in mind that at the time of Prophet Muhammad didn't know that there is such a mathematical structure in Quran, and he didn't know that there is this miracle of 19, and obviously he didn't have any other miracle other than the Quran itself. Basically, the revelation of the Quran to himself, that was his miracle. And then right now we can seriously, appreciate this mathematical miracle in the Quran. And, the numbers just speak to you. You don't need to do anything else. And then when we are talking about numbers, at that point, we're not talking about letters. And subhanAllah, when you put it in front of somebody who sees that, then they will be just completely, amazed at how beautiful this is. And inshallah, if today time allows, I have done another one of those numbers, which is like 25,388 digits long, and that was just something I was amazed at, And inshallah, if you have time, I will share it with you. And then we have to see who can imitate such a structure in Quran. It's absolutely impossible to be imitated, and it's not only 1, 2, 3. Up to this point, I personally have found 18 large digit numbers, and they are all multiples of 19, subhanallah. And which book can you find that has such a structure? And as Dr. Rashad Khalifa says, it's just like mathematical impossibility, but at the realm of impossibility, it is possible. That's why nobody can challenge this. It's impossible that you can have such a book, and they like anybody start just putting numbers together. Forget about the text itself. Just putting numbers together, it's impossible to be done. And this is absolutely miraculous, subhanallah.
So, Mashu, to find those mathematical miracles in the Quran.
I mean that they were like, I personally put them on the, on visually, I put them in front of myself. No, I didn't find them myself. Let me correct myself. I didn't find them myself. I basically what do we call it? Like, for example, the ones which are in Appendix 1, okay?
Mm-hmm.
For example, we have like large digit numbers. Those ones, I was always like, what would they look like? How are they multiple of 19, And when I personally sat down and wrote the digits down and tried to do exactly what it was said, and when I saw how it is a multiple of 19, it was just absolutely magnificent. Just recently, probably last week, I found put two of the new numbers which were in one of the audios of Dr. Rashad Khalifa, and he was talking about like 25,000 388 digit number. And I was like, what is this one? I mean, I really want to put it together and see how it looks. And I did that, and subhanallah, it's just mind numbing. Inshallah, if you have time today, I can show you.
So
Thanks for correcting me, brother.
no, I just had a question. Like, for someone to find out more mathematical miracles in the Quran, they have to go by the Arabic, right?
Sure, absolutely, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because you can't. There's no way to do it with
No.
the English language.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to do it with the original text itself. Yes.
Okay.
But these large digit numbers that I'm talking about, they're not. We're not even talking about the Arabic text itself. We're only talking about the verses. You know, where they are placed, how many chapters we have, why, like certain chapters have certain numbers, number of verses. This is just subhanallah. This is absolutely divinely controlled.
Yeah. So, mashallah. So, I want to add something about the brother as my understanding 11, 12. Yeah. So, the message, so we have to actually concentrate about the message. Yeah. Sometimes, so we are following some kind of tradition. I even used to believe something, or I used to believe something. When you come to the Quran, and Quran is saying something, and your understanding was another thing. So now you have to accept the Quran. So Quran is truth. Quran message will be 100% logical. So whatever we used to follow the tradition, sometimes misunderstood, so many things. But when you come to the Quran, and we have to accept the Quranic message, and also it does not matter who is saying, and what kind of person is this? You have to look at the message. Is the message is true? Is message is logical? And is according to the Quran, and we will accept it. Sometimes the people, even the messenger of covenant, they don't want to believe him because he has no background about like the traditional scholar, so so many tests like that. And the previous generation, they wanted to see he has a rich person and look good looking in so many things, but we don't have to look how the person is look like. We have to see the actual message. So from these bars, actually, I understood those kind of things. I don't know. I make it clear or make you confused more. I don't know. Everybody's here, or I am not listening. I don't know.
No, we are here, brother.
I see. Okay. So I want to say also something about verses 11:7. Yeah, 11:7. Especially, where it says, his dominion was completely covered with water. Yeah. So the traditional people, they understood his dominion mean like the God's dominion. Actually, the messenger covenant explained, it's not the God dominion, it's earthly. The earth was full of water, before it became masses, so that what I understood before, that from tradition, understanding, his his dominion means God's dominion, but it's not the God dominion. It's earthly dominion. Yeah, was completely covered with water.
Mashallah, that's a lot. Yeah. You want to get plates? Well, you don't need to sit on that.
Have you said anything, brother? I didn't understand.
No, continue, please. Continue, brother.
Yeah, and mashallah, also now we understood properly, why God says, like 6 days and the 4 days, yeah. So because God spent 6 days for the earth, that means, so there will be only life in the earth, so, and there will be no life in other planets. So this is the main thing, God wanted to say, and there is something has special going on only in our earth. And yes, so there's
Brother,
God emphasized 4 days, to create earth.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that because I heard that you said 6 days, but actually it's 4 days for the earth and 2 days for the universe. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, but this is because we understand now, why the sometimes 6 days, 2 days, 4 days, yeah, that's, yeah. So 4 days for the earth, for the whole universe is 6 days, so that means 2 days rest of the other planets. So only, yeah, rest for we complete 6 days. So 2 days for all other planets, all other universe, for only a small Earth, God took 4 days. So there is a special reason. So that's understood. Yeah, I finished, brother. Yeah, brother and
Mashallah.
sisters. Yeah.
Yes, mashallah, mashallah.
Yeah.
I wanted to also make a comment about the ALR that we have, at the beginning of Surah 11. So we all know that these are the initials that we have in the beginning of 29 surahs, and ALR is one of the initials. And if you go to the Appendix 1, we will see that all the initials are mentioned, and the initial ALR is the one which is actually appearing in the beginning of 5 surahs. So Surah 10, Surah 11, Surah 12, Surah 14, and Surah 15. And in Surah 11 that we were reading today, we have Brother Khalis, would you allow me to share my screen so that I can show this part, inshallah? If you could unshare and then allow me to share, that would be great.
Okay, yeah.
MashaAllah. Just give me one moment. Okay. Now, so this is the one. Okay, so this is in appendix 1, and we see that. Okay, so ALR, Alef Lam Ra, appear. So these initials are found in surahs 10, 11, 12, 14, and 15. The total occurrences of these letters in these surahs are 2,489 for the basically for the Surah 11, basically. Okay, and this is the one that we were reading today. And we see that the A or Aleph we have 1,370. For Lam we have 794, and for Ra we have 325, and that mounts up to 2,489, which is 19 times 131. And you see that how they are also each surah are individually in each individual surah. We see ALR, and they are individually multiple of 19, and also together they're multiple of 19. This is really great, subhanallah, because we have this structure in other surahs as well. And sometimes, for example, for Aleph Lam Mim, you see that these are the surahs like Surah 2, 3, 29, 30, 31, 32. Individually, in each surah, it's a multiple of 19, and also together, it's a multiple of 19. But then, for example, for Ha Mim, you have it in 7 surahs, Surah 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, and 46. But individually, they're not multiple of 19. Together, they are multiple of 19, subhanAllah. And in this variety of the mathematical structure of Quran for the for the initial letters in the beginning of these surahs is absolutely magnificent. And then, for example, you have Ain Sin Qaf here. You have Qaf here in this surah, which is actually 57, which is on its own multiple of 19, and this is interlocked with the number of basically Qaf in Surah Qaf, which there it's also 57 and multiple of 19. So together they add up to 114, which is the total number of surahs in the Quran. And that's, as Dr. Rashad Khalifa says, Qaf stands for Quran. And then so in 2 surahs, Surah 42 and Surah 50, you have 57 Qaf, and together they mount up to 114, which is 19 times 6, equal to the number of the chapters in the Quran. It's really interlocking, and it's really interesting. And it's also, for example, for Sad, you see in Surah 7, 19, and 38, and you see that individually they're not multiple of 19, but together they are multiple of 19, 152 Sad, 19 times 8. This is absolutely magnificent. This is really, really magnificent, especially when you see it visually. And the book Visual Presentation of Quran by Dr. Rashad Khalifa, you can take a look at it. They are just marked there, and it's absolutely magnificent, subhanAllah.
So I'm reading a little bit of Appendix 1, and it says, as pointed out later in this appendix, all God's scriptures, not only the Quran, were mathematically coded with the number 19. Did we have any information on the Bible being mathematically coded at all?
Yes, but it's actually the fact that, Bible, the original text was mathematically coded, the same as the Old Testament, Torah, the original text has been coded. So Bible has been written in Aramaic, and Torah has been written in Hebrew, but then we don't have the original text of either of them. We don't know exactly which parts have, we know some parts which are very clear that they have been injected with man-made verses, but we have the translations. Even if you go to the old versions of Bible, you go to the Greek Bibles, and you go to the Latin Bibles, they are also translated. They are not the original Aramaic text. And there are some excerpts of some of the chapters of, Bible, but it's not the whole Bible. So when we don't have all of it together, we cannot see it. But alhamdulillah, we have the whole Quran,
Okay, so
yes.
how does one say that all God's scriptures, not only the Quran, were mathematically coded, if you weren't able to see the source? The initial.
Well, actually, it has been told to us by the messenger of the covenant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, and he had inspiration from God, you know. Yeah. And also Rabbi Judah. Yeah, yeah. Rabbi Judah was on one of the other examples that he talked about this in the 12th century. He talked 11th or 12th century. He talked about the mathematical of 19 in the prayers of the Jews, you know, which was supposed to be exactly 19. If you search the appendix for Rabbi Judah, let me share the screen for you. Okay, here it says that a witness from the children of Israel, verse 46:10. Proclaim what if it is from God and you disbelieved in it. A witness from the children of Israel has borne witness to a similar phenomenon, and he has believed while you have turned too arrogant to believe. God does not guide the wicked. So this is the verse from Quran that exactly explains this. And then Dr. Rashad Khalifa has brought this from this book, Studies in Jewish Mysticism, and it's a quotation by these people, Joseph Dan, Frank Talmud, you know, Talmage, yes. And then the quotation says, the people, or in brackets, Jews in France made it a custom to add in the morning prayer the words, Ashrei Tememi Derech, blessed are those who walk the righteous way. And our rabbi, the pious of blessed memory, wrote that they were completely and utterly wrong. It is all gross falsehood because there are only 19 times that the holy name is mentioned in that portion of the morning prayer. And similarly, you find the word Elohim 19 times in the precope of Velech Shemot. Similarly, you find that Israel were called sons 19 times, and there are many other examples. All these sets of 19 are intricately intertwined, and they contain many secrets and esoteric meanings, which are contained in more than 8 large volumes. Furthermore, in this section, there are 152 words, 19 times 8. So this has also been pointed out by some other people after the time of Quran, you know. So this Rabbi Judah was 11th century, and Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad in the 6th century. So basically, this is after the time of Prophet Muhammad, and it has already been, proclaimed in the Quran. It has already been predicted in the Quran that this person will come along and say this, you know. Subhanallah. If brothers and sisters want to add anything else.
No, I want to add, brother, yeah, mashallah, you are doing great. You are doing a lot of research about the mathematical, mashallah.
MashaAllah.
So the only way for us to get even more mathematical miracles is someone who can understand the Arabic text from, I suppose, the same translation Dr. Shah Khalifa used to get his numbers. Someone would have to go through that same translation because it's supported it's supported to get all these numbers. Someone would have to use that same translation, use Arabic to find even more mathematical miracles in the Quran.
mashallah, as far as I know, the versions of Quran, regardless of where you live, like the original text, we know that the Arabic is not translation, it's the original text. It actually, the versions are, as far as I know, they're not that different. It could be some, like all I'm saying is that maybe we should avoid, the word translation, because as far as I know, all the Qurans I've seen all over in Iran, in here, in the US, they're the same copies. So if someone is inspired to find other sides of the miracle, other miracles, or other forms of mathematical miracle in the Quran, any original text of Arabic would work. That's my understanding.
Well, actually, not all the text would work, because Dr. Rashad Khalifa strictly said that we shouldn't check the copies produced in Iran, And if you look at those copies in Iran, you see that, for example, for Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Alameen has been written with Ain Aleph, okay? But then in Arabic text, Alameen is written with Ain Lam, there is no Aleph. There is a small Aleph, but that's not counted toward the letters of the Arabic text. So that's what we need to be very careful about. And the ones which are produced in the Arabic countries, like, for example, Arabic-speaking language countries, like, for example, in Saudi Arabia, in Syria. Like, I have a copy which has been published in Syria. And then for the mathematical miracle, I can see that, and I can, count the correct number of the letters there. And it's absolutely perfect. It's just completely mind-blowing. Yeah. Subhanallah.
Yeah, I think the part that will break is the letters. If you remove the two false verses, everything else works. But when it comes to, calculating the letters, especially the alephs, as it was mentioned earlier, that's where it would become extremely difficult, almost impossible.
Brother, I have started counting them. Let's see whether I was I could do that.
Yeah, there's also the book, visual presentation of the Quran.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, so that helps. But there is stuff, for example, like you shared about the ALR and ALMS. So there is some controversial discrepancies between counts where people have tried to verify stuff. So that's still kind of is unresolved to some degree, because they were not able to come up with the same counts of especially the lams. Alifs is even more difficult, but lams is a lot easier, but still there is some stuff there that has issues that needs to be reconciled.
Inshallah, yes. But I have personally, I have gone through the book of the visual translation, visual presentation of the Quran, and up to this point, so these ones are easy, starting from Qaf, it's really easy. You can find them. Noon, we know that there is one extra noon in the beginning of the chapter, because the other copies, the previous copies before this copy that we have, which is rampant all over the world, we see that noon is written noon wav noon, the archaic versions of it, and it's noon wav noon. So this is already resolved, so there's no questions about it. Sad is easy, you can find them. Then Yasin, it's really easy, you can find them. Ha Mim, I have found all of them. Ain Sin Qaf, all of them. Alif Lam Mim, I have left it for the last because it's really so many, like there are too many, 19,000. It's close to 20,000, so that takes time. But
so how are you counting them?
I'm just counting them one by one by going through the pages myself, and then writing the total tally on every page, and then they count. They come out exactly what number we have here. Not one more, not one less. Up to this point, Ain Sin Qaf, I mean, all of these I have done it myself, and
Yeah,
they are
I mean,
all.
all the other initials are fine, you know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
two initials.
I haven't started
A,
Alif Lam Mim or yeah. Probably, I don't know. Let's
so, like,
see.
especially the part where you mention, especially where the part where the messenger has accounts where, you know, each individual surahs are multiples of 19, and then the cumulative numbers is naturally also multiple of 19. So some of those is where the some of the you know, discrepancies actually lie at this point. So,
And it could be because absolutely because of the script of the Quran that they have probably tampered with throughout the ages, you know, but doesn't change anything about the mathematical miracle that we have it here. And inshallah, I will do it myself personally. It's going to take time, but I really like it when I see that everything it just checks out. Subhanallah, everything exactly checks out as we have here. So up to this point, I have done it myself, and it's just mind-numbing that all of these things are there, absolutely there. Not one letter more, not one letter less. And the book visual presentation of the Quran really helped, because then I understood how, you know, honestly, let me put it very frankly, how blind I am, you know. Sometimes I went through some pages several times, but I couldn't see the letter which was right in front of my eyes. But when I looked at the markings of Dr. Rashad Khalifa on the book visual presentation of the Quran, there they were, and then I marked them, and the tally was correct, exactly what we had here, especially this Hamim. It took me a long time to find all of them, but then in the end, 2,147 exactly, 19 times 113. Subhanallah. Because God is perfect, you know. We are imperfect. We have problem with our countings and stuff. We have problem with the scripts that we have, you know. But Subhanallah, it just checks out perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think the thing is that I mean, God says, you know, He has the everything in the original master. Also, so even if people, like in the past, for example, people tried to add 2 verses, you know, but that Quran is just ink and paper. People can add anything
absolutely
they want, but obviously the code exposes it. But in the same way, I mean, in this world today, like people have all these different versions, but God has the original master, and nobody can change that, and the mathematical code still continues to guard that. And
Subhanallah, yeah, absolutely, Subhanallah. Brother, if I mean, are there any questions on topic or off topic? If we have time, I would like to show this visually, this mathematical miracle, subhanallah, 25,388 digit. It wouldn't take long. I mean, but I just want to share it when everybody's done. Yeah.
If anybody else has any questions or comments before, I mean, I don't have any questions.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Yeah.
Sounds good, inshallah.
All right. So if nobody else has any comments or questions, and even if you have brothers and sisters, you can do it after this. Inshallah, I will share this with you. This is just really beautiful, subhanallah. And so previously we had, if you remember, we had this number which was 12,692 digit, if I'm not mistaken, and that was a multiple of 19 on its own. And what we did was that, so for each chapter of the Quran, we have the verses of the chapter. So, for example, for chapter 1, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we have put it here, and I have color coded them so that we can see the difference when we switch from one chapter to another chapter. And what we have done here is that we put 7, which is the total number of the verses of that chapter before the verses, okay? And for chapter 2, we have 286 verses, and I have put 286 here, and I have not highlighted it so that you see how we are switching from one chapter to another. Also, chapter 3, 200 verses, and we have put 200 over here, and so on and so forth until the end of Quran, when we get to chapter 114. Now, chapter 114, we have 6 verses, and I have put 6 here. And now, interestingly enough, we had another system where we put the same number 7 and the same number 286 after the numbers, and that was individually, that also was a multiple of 19. Now, if we put both systems together, subhanallah, it becomes a multiple of 19. I mean, if we put this system, that we put 7 first, 286 first, 200 first, and then so on and so forth until the end of Quran, where we get to 114, and you put 6 here, then we switch back to chapter 1, and we put 7 after the number of the verses. And then we had 286 after the number of the verses, 200 after the number of the verses. And we go until the end of the Quran again. And then we get to 114, and we put 6 at the end of it. And then here, that system required us to put the total number of the verses of the Quran in it as well. So we put 6,234 as well at the end of it as well. So now let's look at this beautiful number all together from the beginning till the end. And you can see that these non-highlighted parts would really show where we are switching from one chapter to another chapter. And this is absolutely beautiful. If you want to print it, I can give you the Google Drive link. I have put it online, so then you can print it out for yourself. You can put it in the calculator yourself and enjoy and witness this miracle yourself, subhanallah. And then here it is where we are switching from the previous version, which we had the number of the verses first, and then we switch to this one that we put the number of verses at the last, right? So we put 7 here, 286 here, 200, and then we so on and so forth. We go to the end of the Quran and we get to chapter 114, and then 6,234. And
so 6,234, that is the count of verses?
Yes, the count of the verses, yes. I believe that is without Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, because if we go to the beginning of the appendices, we see that the total count of the verses of the Quran is 6,234 without the Bismillahs, because the Bismillahs don't have numbers, right? They're not numbered verses. Only 2 Bismillahs are numbered verses. One of them is the Bismillah chapter 1, right? And one of them is the Bismillah of chapter 27, which is verse 30, which is the second Bismillah, which is in chapter 27. So excluding the 112 Bismillahs that don't have numbers, we're going to go with the Bismillah, with all the other verses of the Quran, which is 6,234 to be exact. And we have brought that over here, okay? And then if you put this number into the calculator, in a giant number 19 calculator on submission.guide, and I have just copied and pasted, subhanallah, you see that it is multiple of 19. And it is 19 times this number, and it's 25,388 digits. Subhanallah. I mean, your mind blows, when you see this. This is absolutely fantastic. Now, the same structure, if you switch the order of these two systems, so if we had numbers first, the total number first, then the number of chapters, right? And then we switched it last. If you reverse the order, okay, and we go to the next number, which is this number that I have put here, the reverse order would be here. So we have 7 at the end, 286 at the end, and when we go to the end of the Quran and we go to this, we put 6,234 here. So this was from the previous system, right? Which was in the second position previously. We put it first. We put it in the first position. And the one which was in the first position, we put it in the second place. So you switch the order of the two systems. Still, this one also becomes a multiple of 19, subhanallah. If you take a look at it, before I put it into the calculator. It's just magnificent. I can't explain it,
So it's interchangeable the way you
absolutely, yeah.
switch them.
Yes, absolutely. When you switch them still, it becomes a multiple of 19. So far.
So does the number change? The times 19. What number is that, or is it the same number?
I have no idea. We can check. Let's see.
So the first one you just did, when you multiplied it, you said it was 20 something, and
yes. Let me put both of them in the calculator and see that whether they are the same or different. It's very easy to be checked, inshallah. So this was this. Let me not confuse myself. There are so many pages open. I don't want to confuse. Also, this is the first one that we did. Yes. Okay. This is the first one, and this is the second one. Yes. Correct. Okay. This is the first one that we did. Let me just put it in the calculator. This is the first one. Okay. And this is the second one. Let's put it also in the calculator, and then we can check and see whether they are the same or different. So this is 19 times 6497 whatever, and this one is 19 times 34. Yes, of course they're different. Yes,
they're different.
Yes, but the total tally of the digits of the numbers are the same because we have just switched them around. This one is 25,388, and this one is also 25,388 digits long. Subhanallah. I mean, this is mind-numbing.
Of that, of the first one. So the 19 times 690 something, and then the other one is 19 times 3.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
it almost could be half of the first number.
Yes. Well, doesn't make any difference what is this number, which is the multiple of 19. The only thing which matters the most is that it is a multiple of 19 with no remainder, That's what is important. When we say it's a multiple of 19, so we're talking about completely two different numbers, right? One of the numbers is basically starting with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. And one of the numbers is starting with 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 286. They're completely two different numbers, absolutely different. They have no relationship to each other whatsoever, right? But they are a multiple of 19. Both of them are a multiple of 19. And we know that how they are related. But the mathematics, as far as the mathematics is concerned, mathematics doesn't recognize how these two numbers are related. We know how they are related, right? This is just beautiful, subhanallah.
Okay, so they're just verses after verses.
Yes, number of verses, nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. Yeah, it's just mind-numbing. Absolutely mind-numbing, yes. I can share so this is the Google Drive folder that I have created for these numbers. You can go ahead and do them yourself. You can download them and use them. I just shared the Google Drive folder. It's open to the public, so anybody can download them or just online in Google Sheets, copy and paste them. But it's only viewer only. You cannot edit it. So you can download it on your computer, and then you want to do anything with it, you can do it. And interestingly enough, subhanAllah, when you add those two false verses, 128, 129 of Surah 9, the whole thing collapses. We don't have anything anymore. It's not a multiple of 19 anymore. It's just, subhanAllah, it's just magnificent.
And has anyone ever done that? Is that in any of the appendixes, or did you just?
No, it's in one of the audios of Dr. Rashad Khalif. Let me show you. Let me share the screen and say where I found it.
Okay.
Actually, it was in two of the audios. When I was transcribing, it just attracted my attention, and it was in one of the other audios when Shima was listening the other night, and I sat down and listened to it. I sometimes, it's the point of, being attracted to it, So it was in audio. Let me see. Audio. 21. In audio 21, where Messenger of the Covenant was explaining it. I mean, it was not very hard. I already have the other two systems, you know. That's why it was not very hard to put it together. 25,388 digits, where he was explaining it. And it seems like in the masjid, previously they have put it in the shape of a circle. Because if you look at it, basically you are starting from the beginning of the Quran, going to the end of the Quran, right? And then going again to the beginning of the Quran, you know? So it's like a circle. I don't know how that would have looked like, but I have a rough idea how it would look like. But it's so beautiful. This is 8 pages long, you know, with font 12. This is 8 pages long. If you want to print it and put it on the wall of your house, it's just, and somebody comes along and said, what is this? So that, okay, sit down so that I explain it to you, inshallah.
No, that's a good one.
You can just print it and put it in the place of work, and somebody comes up, what is this colors? You know. MashaAllah, yeah. And the colors are really beautiful, you know. The colors completely show the difference where we switch from one surah to another surah. And it's just mind-numbing how and why each and every one of these chapters were supposed to be exactly this number of verses, not one more, not one less. Because God is perfect, subhanAllah. It's just, I don't know how to say that. Subhanallah. Inshallah, Brother Abdullah. Yeah, I shared the Google Drive. Did it open? Can everybody access it?
Yeah, it opened.
Okay, mashallah. Yes, it's there, and then you can go through the other ones as well. So from in the Google Drive, if you go, we have number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. These numbers up to 15 were the numbers which were mentioned in Appendix 1. But 16, 17, 18, they were not. These are the ones that I got from the audios of Dr. Rashad Khalifa.
So the one that we're looking at now is the color code.
17 right? And 18, yes. All of them are color coded, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, all of them are color coded, yes.
Yeah, mashallah, that is very mind-numbing to put this huge number into the calculator and it says multiple of 19. So,
yeah, absolutely. And then the interesting thing is that if you put it, like I once tried to figure out how long would be, like, for example, this number, okay? So we know that, like, for example, 3 digits is 1,000, 6 digits, it's 1,000,000, 9 digits, it's 1,000,000,000, 12 digits is 1,000,000,000,000, 15 digits, we go higher and higher, but this is 25,388 digits, okay? So we have no count, like we can't say, what is this number? Like, what is this? 25,388, what? It's so big, it's so big. It's, if you just stack it up on one another, it would be probably 1 kilometer long, you know? SubhanAllah.
Did you try this?
yeah, and the website you use to put the number in the calculator.
Yes, it's submission.guide, brother.
Yeah, it's also in the app. It's the same thing in the app. So if you
Yes.
have the app on your Android or iOS for submission, the calculator is there as well.
Brother John, submission.guide, not submission.ws. Brother Suleiman, do we have it on submission.ws as well?
There used to be one there. I don't know if it's still working. It probably
Can you
is,
can you
but it's not
like
the same as
mhm,
this one. I don't
yeah
think. Yeah, it might. Yeah, I have to check if it's still working.
yeah.
Um,
MashaAllah, we have these numbers. Inshallah, you can make that one also work. That would be great. You can check it.
yeah. So I believe the number 19 calculator still shows up in the menu,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna tell you guys right now if it's still working. But yeah, submission.guide it works, and
Hmm.
also on the app, the submission app, it should work
Hmm.
on this app and the old app, the Qibla app.
MashaAllah. Oh, Brother John is saying yes. Qibla app is working. Is that what you're saying, brother? Okay. Oh, he says that he has it too. Okay, he has it too. Okay. Yeah. Anyhow, this is just beautiful. Subhanallah. You go back.
Yeah, yeah, mashallah. So yeah, the calculator is still also there on submission.ws. There's one on top that's the for 19 related calculations, and then the other part at the bottom is for just the zakat calculator.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it exists. So I'm going to share this link here if anybody also wants to go there too, to just out of curiosity. So there's a
No,
calculator there as
yeah. Let's see whether this number can be taken there and see whether it becomes a multiple of 19.
well. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't really tested. Well, I guess I did test it with very large numbers in the past, but I haven't really actively been maintaining it.
No, it's
For
not
many.
working, brother. You have to work on it, inshallah.
No, I mean this is old stuff.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is this
okay.
doesn't be worked on again.
Yeah, 25,000 is not working. But subhanallah, this one
Okay.
on the submission that guide is working perfectly fine.
Yeah.
MashaAllah. Anyone who wants to just like know something about submission, you can use this submission that guide calculator. It works perfectly fine, mashallah. And then you can use these numbers to just amaze them. You do your part, inshallah, brothers and sisters, and give the message. And then the rest is up to God, subhanallah, for those people to be guided or not to be guided. Yeah, either way.
Yeah. No, I want to say something about the brother Solomon. He was doing great job still. I think the submission app. Also, recently I found the Cap Lab. Like 1 month ago, I didn't know about the Cap Lab, so I
Mhm.
downloaded that one also. Mashallah, brother, you did a great job for. It's helping a lot of submitter. To find out the right Kapla, to read all so many things. Yeah,
I
mashallah.
think. Allah.
MashaAllah.
I could not even imagine to do this kind of thing. But you already, mashallah, you did already so much work.
Thank you, brother. Mashallah. Yeah, so I guess another important thing to mention here regarding the verses that we read. There's verse about 11:7. I mean, we notice that there's so many Christians, based on the Bible, like they feel like they have to defend the argument that the earth is only 5,000 years old, And there's people that are seemingly very well educated, but they still insist on saying that for whatever reason that the earth is 5,000 years old, right? And by God's grace, mashallah, I mean, we know there's no nonsense in the Quran. It's one of the Quran's scientific miracles, and God has told us about the yardstick here, the earth being created, heaven and the earth being created in 6 days. And the footnote obviously really helps to clarify further that, this is a yardstick for us to understand the intricacy of how the provisions are distributed, because a lot goes into the provisions, especially being distributed, and all of the calculations that, you would think, and the systems that have to be created for it to work flawlessly as it does, as flawlessly as it does. So, but, just the fact that we have this information that, it doesn't mean 6 days literally, mashallah, it's a blessing from God to know that. And the fact that it talks about water, earth, God's earthly dominion being covered with water. I mean, I believe, like, if you study the evolution, of the earth itself, from scientific point of view, I think it talks about how it was, I think, covered with water at first, and how the continents, moved around and whatnot. So, the land masses emerged after, and this is also a scientifically proven fact, and they drifted apart. So the fact the Quran mentions that the earth was completely covered with water, I mean, I think that's pretty profound. And the other thing I wanted to mention about God's revelations being heavy. So I think we were talking earlier about how the disbelievers, we were saying that how the disbelievers may wish to disregard some of what is being revealed, or maybe annoyed by it. But the verse is really talking about, you may be annoyed by some of that which is revealed to you, and you may be annoyed by it. You may wish to disregard some of that which is revealed to you, and you may be annoyed by it. It's not talking about them, but then the other part of the verse is talking about the other people, right? But the first part, I mean, you may wish to disregard some of that which is revealed to you, and you may be annoyed by it. So means that, yeah, I mean, God's revelation, I mean, this whole responsibility, all of these things, the whole thing that we thought was easy, I mean, it's not in itself, and it's a lot of responsibility. And so you could be annoyed by it. It could be a little difficult for you. And as it says, subtitle says, God's revelation is heavy, So that's what I wanted to add there.
So does it mean Prophet Muhammad, or you as like a believer?
My understanding is not only for the prophet, also the regular, the people who read the Quran, the God message. So there's some message will be difficult to grasp it, because we used to follow some tradition, So it's not easy to accept the Quranic message all the time. It's for all of us. That's my understanding.
MashaAllah.
Anyone else has any other comments or questions? Okay, so if not, then God willing, we can conclude. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you, brother, for hosting this, for leading the study and for streaming. And God willing, our next English Quran study would be on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific time. God bless you all. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
God bless you all. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. God bless you all.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Much love.
Assalamu alaikum.